Karts are now on the racetrack as we start things off the Indy Karting Challenge, the third round, getting all set to go here on Kart Chaser. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to today's coverage of the Indy Karting Challenge, the third round from Whiteland, Indiana, from KA100 Circuit, Whiteland. Today, we're here to see how the drivers fare out in this mid-May afternoon. Drivers are currently in the midst of getting all set to go on the racetrack as we begin the action today. My name's Justin Prince. Alongside me in the booth today is Taylor Burris as we are set to see how these drivers fare out. Taylor, today should be a fun day to see how drivers do, especially since it's early in the season and it's expected to be a beautiful day when it comes to the weather forecast. We're working on a technical blip as James Fox currently leads the way in the 206 Cadet Qualifying session that's currently on the racetrack as we progress through the early sessions. The early sessions today will feature 206 Cadet Sportsman. It'll also feature on the schedule the 206 Masters, KA Jr, which swapped over from the afternoon sessions for the odd rounds, 206 Light, Cadet, and Junior Shifter are all part of this layout for these drivers in terms of the sessions today. We continue on to see how this session plays out for the qualifying as these drivers get ready to try and set up their grid positions. So far, this championship comes to the cadet class. This season has been led, in fact, by Patrick McNeely, who is not one of the drivers on track. James Fox, second in the point standings, picked up a win in the final last time out. He is second and is in a great position to gain points, second in the qualifying section to Grayson Waite, who missed the first round of the season but finished second in the final last month. Under 2 minutes to go in this session as these drivers currently work the way of what they call 61R is the track layout. They'll be using this layout today as they work on some repairs in what is essentially the banked curve around the racetrack here at the circuit. Currently, as we get through the session here, as we continue on, it's going to be the fun time of seeing how these drivers play out with the rhythm of this racetrack, as well as prepare for that restart zone towards the rear end of the course. Currently, Taylor Burris working on a technical side of things as we stand at the moment.
Okay, well, there we go. For some reason, my vMix did not want to connect.
Okay, looks like we've sorted out the technical blip with Taylor Burris here as we are now continuing on with qualifying. Waite currently at the top of the board over James Fox. Owen Shalou in third spot. Change up top. Fox jumps up to the top of the board with a 47.837, which is 12 seconds remaining. Taylor, first things first, how are you feeling about the action today as we get ready to see how these drivers fare out without the bank curve?
Well, it's going to be really exciting to see here, Justin, as a lot of exciting action here. Round 3, a different configuration, of course, as well for this round of this championship. So curious to see how the drivers are going to be able to negotiate through this. But as we are just about wrapping up qualifying, looks like Mr. Fox is going to be the one who will take fast time here unless someone is able to pull a rabbit out of the hat to take on the pole position as they come out of the final corner across the front straightaway. And with a 47.837, And no, Mr. Wyatt is going to take it away just barely with a 47.809 right there at the end.
Grayson to the top of the board by a couple 100ths of a second just about. Over James Fox, Brett Hastings in third, Schlew in fourth spot, Diesel Maxwell, the top five. Tate Hall also took part in the session. He put up a 50.8. So those drivers finish out the first qualifying grouping of the morning. But we still have plenty of other qualifiers. 206 Sportsman is due up next when it comes to the running order. 206 Sportman, so far the point standings, has been led by Blake Martinez in the 38 Kart. William Feinsteiner has so far picked up a win but also missed last round. Daniel Dragunov took part in last round and swept the round, so those drivers tied for second. Diesel Maxwell in fourth. Ari Berger rounds out the top five in the 206 Sportsman point standings here today. So the drivers now hit the racetrack for their qualifying. Get ready to see how they fare out. How did things go in the warm-up session? Well, they were grouped up with the cadets. It was Light Sabanowik who picked up the fast time by 3/10 over Lincoln Willie, Blake Martinez, and Ari Berger in the running order. So keep in mind, today, Taylor, this track going to be very rhythmistic, it seems, based on the layout. There's not a lot of drafting opportunities here. How are you going to set up opportunities to make passes and moves throughout the day today?
Well, I mean, you got to think about it. We have two of them, the longest straightaways here in this area of karting, especially on that back straightaway as we watch the drivers work their way through the S's, which is a great passing opportunity. Not taking the banking like we did the fast couple of rounds, so this is going to be interesting. But right here, this long back straightaway heading over towards that tight hairpin is a great way to get that toe, get that draft, to set yourself up for either a pass or to set fast lap here in qualifying as they work their way around the circuit here. We'll try to see how this all plays out, but we do not, if I'm looking at timing scoring correctly, neither one of our top two winners in the championship so far are here racing this weekend. We do have, I believe, Blake Martinez, who is out there, our points leader, who just now crossed the line, currently P2 on the standings. Lincoln Wiley currently sets fastest lap on the opening run.
Wiley so far looking very solid indeed. See how that continues on through the session, though. That's going to be the major thing as the day progresses here. The AMAX Racing Machine joined Team Elite for 2025, setting its sights on an amazing season with the family, with their focus for this campaign. It's had some incredible drives at Quinn Daytona Kart Week throughout the season in terms of the national level. So far, he's up by 2/10. Blake Martinez remains second on the pylon. Christopher Heinzen also in this field. Ari Berger, Light Sabanowik, and
go to a super regional or a national level like we see with the Stars, United States Pro Kart Series, the CKNAs, or of course the one of the biggest ones of all is the SCUSA Series as well. So a lot of these drivers right here, and especially in this class, this is the way to work your way up in through the rankings to where we will see you possibly one year competing at the highest level. Of course, we see one of the top level teams right there, MPG Motorsports, right there in the 267. Currently, that is being driven by Christopher Hines right there, who's trying to have a good run. Currently sits P4 in the standings as he tries to see if he can set up another personal best lap with a minute left to go in qualifying. It's going to be Ari Berger who is now doing it. Now Lincoln Wiley goes to the top, followed by Blake Martinez, your points leader, in second place.
So they continue to swap around. Berger is the one of the 20 you're referring to. Take a look at them in the blue card, in fact, on screen. One of the drivers that just in the past few weeks or so also took part in action over the Music City Kartplex. So it's been a busy schedule, you can say, for that driver across the regions. It's also raced as well in Orlando in recent months with various organizations in the racing scene. So we have one kart who's gone off into the grass. Not able to see the number plate. There it is. Looks like 38. That is Martinez. That's off track. We'll have to get some assistance there in the runoff area.
Tough break for your points leader. Not what he needs to have happen, but the good news is he has a little bit of time to maybe make some adjustments, as it looks like that is Gio Nelson that led by one of your faster drivers, as yellow flags are waving as they come up to that section of the circuit. Checker flag's about to come out. This is their last lap. Lincoln Wiley still sets fastest lap with a 47.380.
Wiley's been fast all throughout the session so far. We have an air spinner. Looks like they're getting up and out of the kart.
That looked to be like Gio Nelson right there as well in the 5. As checker flag is out, Lincoln Wiley is going to set fast lap again with a 47.379. No improvement for anyone else. So Lincoln Wiley going to be set at the top of the leaderboard as he gets set for his event later on.
Rotation in the next minute or so will be the 206 Masters. They'll get their chance to be able to control the racetrack, where 6 different drivers have taken part in the standings so far. But remember, last time we really seen racing that comes to mind, we've seen so far weather play a bit of a factor when it comes to some of the racing this season. No one scored any points the last time out. Interesting enough in 206 Masters, Taylor.
Yeah, by the looks of it, I don't think we even had a 206 Masters class at all for round 2. And look at the stacked group of drivers here for 206 Masters, one of the biggest fields we have so far to count for to this morning's session, as the drivers will make their way out there on the track. Trying to see if we have McQuirkadale or Troy Toney. Of course, he was your heat race winner and your feature winner from the season opener a couple of months ago. So as they all head out onto the track, we'll keep an eye and see who is going to be the one who will make their way through and sit on pole for your heat race this morning.
Drivers taking their time here. It looks like they had a flag signal to slow down here. As not sure why they've gotten the signal to go slow pace. So we'll see where they go. They had some signals there with the flag stand. And it looks like we're red flagging it.
Wonder what the situation could be. We were still... Oh. Well, looks like somebody released the karts out a little bit too early before we get started with qualifying. Normally, we don't release any karts out on the track till all karts that need to be picked up are cleared off the track. So a little bit of miscommunication right there. So we'll just give them a few moments to get the stranded 38 of Blake Martinez off the track, and then the officials will release the Masters onto the circuit.
A reminder at this time that after the qualifying session, remember, we're going behind the paywall here on Kart Chaser. Be sure to subscribe if you want to be able to keep an eye on the racing action here today, both the AM and PM groups, here for the Indy Karting Challenge from K1 Circuit, Whiteland.
And also, Justin, if you think about it.
No, you go ahead.
I was going to say also, if you think about it, with that subscription that you get with the KC Premium membership, this course is only $9.99 a month, and it gives you the opportunity to not only catch today's action, but also get ready for the second round of the SCUSA Pro Tour as they head just a little bit over to Ohio, to the MCC Plex, and it's going to be an exciting round once again as we see some of the biggest names in karting go at it once again for their second round of the championship.
Yeah, it's going to be one of those people here, myself in that case. Should be a fun time when we see the racing happen in a few weeks. Looks like the karts now moved off the racetrack. Now the drivers are getting the command to roll for the qualifying session. Green lights are blinking. And we'll see how this now goes. Qualifying is officially underway after essentially a standing start to get rolling as to go through turns 1, 2, 3, 4, and onward. A big class, 13 drivers today ready to rumble. Troy Tony amongst those, McCorkadale is a part of that field. You also have, it looks like one driver actually put their nickname at his Burpo that decided to put hoodie strawn in their scoring pylon.
Yeah, have a little fun with this, of course. I mean, this is all for fun. I mean, the 206 Masters is just those drivers who want to just go out there, have some fun, and enjoying the sport that we all love, which is motor racing and karting. But as they come out of the final couple of corners to start their first opening lap across the line, it is going to be Troy Tony, who set a blistering pace, a 49.417, half a second faster than either Matt Geist or your points leader, Evan McCorkadale.
See where everyone is going to shuffle out here. You see these drivers having to work through that infield cut in to avoid the banking. It's a very tight section compared to those able to build the trap for the long back straightaway. See how that really fares out during the racing here today. Tony so far 49.417. Time to beat when it comes to the season. So far, he's been very competitive. He picked up a heat win earlier in the season, but McCorkadale jumps to the top of the board. Does so by 64/100ths of a second, 1,000ths in fact.
Yeah, Hastings moved up a couple of spots as well during that time period, as well as Burpo also moving up some spots as we have problems for the 531 machine. That's Matt Geist in his machine. It is going to have to pull off the track, as the rest of the field will continue on their way in the 206 Masters. 2 minutes, 45 seconds left to go. See if anyone's able to pick up a couple of tenths here and there and move their way through. Currently, your top 7 separated by just about half a second. So really tight competition as McCorkadale goes to the top. Now Derek Hastings, a 46.337.
Yeah, these drivers gain more and more speed as the tires build more heat, but better yet, with those 206s, it seems these karts are all about gaining momentum over time. It's hard to pick up draft in this style of racing with the 206s. We've seen that here. We've seen that at MCC Cincinnati, for example, here on Kart Chaser. It takes time if you want to be able to make moves. If anything, with this motor, it's very rhythmistic when it comes to the driving style as Geist gets the chance to fire off compared to, say, of a KA kart. So it takes a lot of work if you want to be able to make moves in its wide track position so critical with the 206s.
And it is a tight fight right now for that pole position as Hastings and McCorkadale are just swapping fast lap after fast lap here as they go through. It's now separated by 0.04 of a second right now. So it is really coming down to the wire. Your top 5 separated by half a second as they try to work their way down the back straightaway into the corner. And we'll see who is able to improve upon their time here. 1:15 to go. A little bit of a argy-bargy right there as the team machine pushes one of the karts up the track a little bit off corner exit. That's going to be a little bit of a check on to see how that all plays out as they come out of the final corner, going towards the start-finish line. Across the line they will go. And Hastings, a 45.999. Brian Williams picking up a spot as well into second place.
Not bad at all, as you see a lot of squabbling now in the tight confines of the corners. It's just 40 seconds to work with in the session. Now to give a little context, Matthew Burpo is the name, by the way, of that at the hoodie strawn in regards to the 22 machine. Double check that regard for that machine that's got experience with the Southern Indiana Karting Association. And Southern Indiana Karting Association in terms of the racing side of things, where they've raced a fair bit and also have experience running that series. Now a part of the schedule here at the Indy Karting Challenge. So Derek Hastings looks to hold on at the top of the board. We'll see if there's any more changes with the checker flag here. Only a few more moments to go in this session. It looks like everyone just single filed out to try and close things out, Taylor.
Absolutely. They have one more shot. We do already have a couple of drivers who have already taken the checkered flag. It's
5, the Hoodie Straw Machine of Burpo in 6th position. Now, of note, Hoodie Straw is raising awareness for one of their friends who has cancer. So bringing awareness to the cause as one of the track managers as well here at K1 Circuit Whiteland. Matt Geist, Ryan Waldo, Tower Deman, and Jesse Bullock were the top 10. Our next rotation is ready to go, and as mentioned, these drivers making the swap from the morning to the afternoon, or afternoon to morning for the rotations compared to earlier in the season. KA Jr, led by Lucian Laser this season, Taylor, is going to be able to charge up next here. They're tied, in fact, with Evan Patton in the point standings coming in today.
Yeah, this class here has been full of amazing drivers. Drivers such as AJ Stoner, who is your opening round winner here this season, of course. And then we have some other drivers who have podiumed quite well, like Patton, who is tied for the point standings, as we talked about, with Laser as well. Ryan Mort, another driver who picked up a heat win in the opening round. Tough break for them, however. Didn't get any points in the second round this season, so he's got to find a way to pick up some points here as they come across the line here. We see Ryan Mort, Evan Patton, your points leader, Lucian Lazier, who is your previous round winner, out there on the track. A total of 6 karts competing in your KA Junior category.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting how they run. Mason Gallion, mind you, led the way in final practice earlier on in the day. 2024 SIRA KA100 Jr Champion. It's Mason Gallion with that experience. We'll see how things go here today for Gallion on the pace radar. 64 is the kart, 43 flat just about is the time, as Laser jumps up to second to start things off here. And keep an eye on how these drivers really group together. This, of course, is going to be a different style of racing than what we've seen so far in terms of qualifying, even for the 206s. These ones getting into small groupings to try and work together here, Taylor.
Yeah, this one here is you're going to see a lot of drivers utilizing the toe of the draft as best they can, but also these karts here are not as heavily momentum-based as what we would see with a 206 Briggs & Stratton engine. So these karts here can stretch themselves out if they play their cars right and can set fast laps by themselves, like we're seeing with the 64 of Mason Galen. I mean, all by himself, he is already 3/10, almost 4/10 of a second faster than drivers who are kind of working together a little bit, as we saw Ryan Mort, who currently sits second. He has got a lot of work to do as they work their way down the back straightaway. There you see the 812 of Ryan Mort for the MPG Kart Republic as he works his way around the circuit here. Really good job for trying to see what he can do. He's got a little bit of work to do in the standings. We touched on that as well for your Heat 1 winner from round 1. But we'll keep an eye and see if he can make some improvements needed. And he's in the right direction, currently sitting second on the standings, as now Andrew Avelos jumps up to the second position.
Avelos now jumps up indeed in the 7 machine. Keep an eye on Mort as he continues around the racetrack. Ryan Mort actually has some experience racing in the 2024 SCUSA Supernats. Got some racing experience there. Also, he's put on some phenomenal battles. If you look back to some of the highlights when it comes to his racing with Landon Boer, in terms of some of the battling he's done over time that made some of the highlights last year. Take an eye and see where they now go as they come across. Ryan Mort does jump on top, but Lucy Laser gets even faster. 41.813 puts him on the top of the board by 86 1/1000ths now.
Drivers now finding that sweet spot. Those tires now starting to come up to temperature for each one of these competitors. That's where we're going to see those fast times here as we watch a little side-by-side almost going into that corner. And as they do so, that's the 808 or the 800 of Lazier right there. He is trying to get a good tow. He's got 2 karts right there. He's got the 7 machine of Avelos and the Lando Norris kart, and then he's getting that tow he needs. I believe that's Evan Patton up ahead of him as they come across the line as he moves up to P3. Avelos with that big tow he got from Lazier, as well as Patton moves up to the top with a 41.714.
Going to get interesting closings out as Avelos trying to cut to the inside of the Lando Norris kart. Got squeezed out there as he now goes back into line in this pack. Of note, Laser still holding on in front, though he's the middle of these drivers right now for the new gen karts. That team debuting new karts for Haas Karts last month here at Whiteland, Indiana, for that facility. That's part of a new program that took part in the Route 66 Sprint Series. Also looking to target top 2 stroke programs nationwide they talked about, including trying to run at the national level with their chassis. So Laser, amongst those with a team that's looking to expand upon a new chassis at the national level here amongst this pack.
And that's something we would love to see here in the world of karting. New chassis, new manufacturers coming on board here to where we could see and they can showcase the talent that they have with their drivers and their packages. As they cross the start-finish line, it's safe to say Ryan Mort will be your pole sitter here in your KA Junior category with a 41.514.
So Mort over Avelos does so by 0.2 of a second. Mason Gallion will be in 3rd, Laser in 4th. Patton and Jordan Lapham will be in the 6th position for KA Junior. Our next pack of drivers just have a few more moments. We're quickly breezing through qualifying here today. 206 light already getting ready to hit the racetrack. It's been very swiftly speedy. The 206 Senior Light so far, Braden Heber here at this track has been dominant. He's also had a lot of sparring at MCC Cincinnati this season. But right now, Heber trying to continue the momentum of max points like he's done so far. 500 points to Logan Lynch's 407 here, Taylor.
Absolutely. Lynch, of course, last couple of rounds here, he made a big run up towards the front with a top 5 finish in both heat and your finals last round. And then he got Andrew Goldman, who podiumed in round number 2 to move him up to P3. Clay Robbins did not enter round 2. Tyler Sims missed out on round 1, podiumed in round 2. That is your top 5. Levi Wilbur, also another driver who has a little bit of work to do after DNFing in the 2nd round of the championship.
So we'll see how things go here today for this group. It's going to be a fun time. As these drivers already get squabbling together, that is Williams to the inside. Ethan Williams specifically, as one driver is off. That is Andrew Goldman, who's already got issues.
Not a good way to kick off the day for him today, as he is struggling. Kind of curious to see what have happened to him, but he is going to try to get back as Braden Heber comes across the line to set the opening lap fast time. Everyone else follows in suit. And Daniel Johnson in the 44 to the top of the leaderboard with a 46.220 to kick off this qualifying session.
Yeah, the rest of the drivers getting sorted. One driver having a transponder issue, it looks like. But the rest of the field looking solid on the rhythm so far. Of note, no shifters here today. Just received that clarification. Meaning this is going to be your last quali session of the morning here. Before we go behind the paywall. Daniel Johnson still maintains up front. We'll see if that changes because there was a 5-second lap time put up there. Obviously, you're not driving the speed of light when it comes to these karts today. So
I got to say, give him a... And then he just ran a 12-second lap.
Yeah, not sure. He just crossed the line now. Something obviously is not right on the 44's timing there. Unless they managed to put up a rocket. Now their times have come through at 51-second lap times. So they're at the
There we
bottom of the
go.
board. Keybird's at the top.
I was getting ready to say Mr. Johnson's going to have to go definitely behind the tech wall right there, as they're going to have to definitely look over that cart to see what in the world happened there. But all fixed and well. But Braden Heber to the top of the leaderboard. No surprise as well for him. Looking to go 3 in a row for a hat trick as he sits second. Second car we don't have the transponder for, neither for the number or the name of the driver. And then Colin Harden, your top 3 at the moment.
Some of these drivers showcasing how to make passes. Going to be really aggressive down that back straightaway, it looks like, here today. It's going to be very important before you reach those hairpin turns. It looks like here today for this track layout. Meant to work with as more changes. Colton Kelly jumps up to 3rd spot. Colin Harden shuffle back to 4th. Ethan Williams shuffle back to 5th position in the pathway for this field. So, talking about some of the drivers here in this pack, Colton Kelly has been getting faster and faster the past 4 laps, has increased by a couple tenths per lap on the progression forward. Kelly continues to look very solid, though, in this pack. Has been a racer, various different racetracks, has been focused, though, on one thing: securing points after competing in the Route 66 series last time out. Bit more of an increase. Kelly shuffled down. Harden jumps past him. 20 seconds to go on the board, Taylor.
Here they come through, and this is their final attempt to get a good lap in, and it looks like Braden Johnson finally got his transponder fixed, so we have now everyone showing their numbers and their information. But right now, Braden Heber out to lunch, or out to breakfast pretty much this morning. As he comes across the line, he will currently hold on to the fastest lap. Johnson and Zachary Allen come across. No improvement for them at the moment. And for Heber, so close to beating his personal best, but not quite there. Here comes the rest of the field. Does anyone have anything for Heber? No one makes improvements in 206 Senior Light.
So Braden Heber, top of the board. Braden Johnson in 2nd. Harden, Kelly, and Williams the top 5. Andrew Petrie finished in 6th. Tower Simpson 7th. Zachary Allen 8th. Andrew Goldman finished in 9th after some off tracks. And Daniel Johnson finishes at the bottom of the board. So that's all top to bottom of the running order here today. And that means one thing here, Taylor. We're about to go behind the paywall. Your thoughts before we go behind said wall?
Well, I mean, we went by real quickly here for this amazing qualifying session. Senior Lights and your 206 Masters are going to be some of the most exciting classes, I have to say, that you're going to want to have to watch for your heat races and your finals. And I look forward to having all the action covered here on Kart Chaser.
We'll take a step aside. When we come back, we'll be on the other side of the paywall. You're watching the Indy Karting Challenge, the 3rd round from Whiteland, Indiana. It continues after this.